How to build your buyer's list. Okay, so you now have a deal. You now know how to negotiate it. You know how to get people fighting. You're going to want to have a buyer's list. Every time you market a property, you will get a list of people who want to buy your properties. And if you have good deals, then you will get a lot of people looking at your deals. Now, the key for you is to every single person that looks at a house, you want to make sure you get their email, their name, and their phone number. This is a big key. You can take and put this in an Excel spreadsheet. You can create a constant contact account where you can email these people. This is all we need to do. If you really want to keep this as simple as possible, when you only have, say, 10 to 20 people in this list, you'd really want to just have an Excel sheet and call all 10 or 20 of these people. And really, in the beginning, qualify out who are the serious buyers, who are the people that can actually take action. Because there's going to be a lot of people who get on your list and want to see your deals, but literally never buy anything. I had a guy the other day who looked at one of my properties, and it was really interesting because I've known this guy since I got into business. He actually got in about the same time as me 10 years ago. And when he sent me a text saying, "Hey, I looked at your property, and this one will be a pass." And it was interesting because I looked at his text, he only never texts me for anything else. So there was 4 years worth of texts where he literally said the exact same thing 35 times. So I was like, wow, this guy never buys anything. And he was actually a renovation coach for one of the RIA groups. And so it's interesting that that would be the case. And I'm not saying he doesn't know what he's doing, but obviously he just doesn't buy very much. And or maybe he's looking for deals that are just way too good and, looking for profits that don't make sense. So this is the first time where I actually called him and said, hey, let me ask you, just to get a little feedback from myself, what did you think about the numbers and the renovation? And when we talked, we found out that it's a house that literally, by the way, I wholesaled this to a student, and he told me he thought he could get 150 for it. My student right now is negotiating a contract for 210 to 220. So, and I'd done a bunch of houses and knew this would be a 210 to 220. So, it kind of shows you that he was almost 60 to 70K wrong on his ARV. That's not something that we should ever do. 60 to 70K is crazy to be that wrong. He also thought it would be $85,000 or $87,000 in renovation. My student, who's very new, ended up doing it for 70K, and I could have done it for 65. So there's the reason why his offer was so crazy low, and it was just not even close. And that's why he didn't even make me an offer. I was looking to get 80K for it, and he would have to offer me 30. So he didn't even bother. He knew that I wouldn't take that. So it's important. I tell you this story because I want you to know there's some buyers out there that literally are never going to buy a property. Now, with that being said, I certainly would love to send him this and show him where he, hey, my student did this for 70 and, we got 210. I would like him just to see where he made his mistakes, because obviously there's some, something he's doing incorrectly in his analyzation. And my analyzation is near perfect because I hold all of my stuff accountable and I don't like to miss deals. So I've done a lot of bad deals, a lot of great deals, but the key is I study them and I understand what works and what doesn't. So when we're working with a buyer's list, it's important that we start to figure out who are the serious people. What we're really looking for is we're looking for the motivated buyers. Motivated buyers means that I just finished a rehab and I have no marketing system. They're probably not one of my students. They don't know how to find deals like most people. And honestly, they just don't know how to get their next deal. And they're kind of now getting worried that they're going to lose their contractor and not have the ability to do another deal. So that person's very motivated to buy a project, and that's who you want to work with. So you want to constantly figure out who the motivated people are. So when you're new, you want to have, you definitely want to create more personal relationships with a smaller group until you get a bigger group, and then you can start texting and emailing people. Doing a text to everyone, like a group text to everyone, is the best thing you can do, and it works a lot better than emails these days because a lot of people aren't opening their emails, and then emails kind of come. People get rid of emails, and you might go into spam on email, but when you do a phone number, most people keep their phone numbers for very long periods of time. So let's talk a little bit about how I build a buyer's list. This is going to be for people who have nothing going on and they need to start from scratch, or if you got 1,000 people and you just want to pump it up and get even a bigger buyer's list so you can get a bigger pool of people to sell to, then this is how you do it. So The first thing, and this is going to really encompass a lot that you can do here, is we want to go to social media. So what I did recently, because I was looking to just do a test for everyone, before I teach you guys this stuff, I test everything and make sure it works really well. So for over the last year, I've been testing, and I've taken my buyers list and I've tripled it in about 6 months using these techniques. But social media was one of my most consistent ways of finding a bunch of people. So wherever you are, there's going to be a lot of groups locally that Facebook groups like for real estate investing. Now, if you can get on those groups, then you can post your deals there. If they don't allow you to post deals, then you could always say, hey, are there any buyers on here that I can put on my buyers list? I got some deals coming up. They'll almost always allow you to do that if they don't allow you to post deals. So you can do that on Facebook groups. You can do it on your Facebook page if you got a decent following or a lot of friends. You can market on Facebook where you can put an ad out that would only go to people locally who say that I do real estate investing for a living. For really little money, you could set up an ad saying, hey, looking for a distressed property to flip, I got properties at 50 cents on the dollar, and buy directly from me, right? I have inside deals essentially, and that ad would cost you very little to run, and it would go in front of a highly motivated group of people. Maybe put it in front of agents, put it in front of everyone. It probably wouldn't cost you very much at all to get a lot of people. We never had to do that yet, but it would work. I've seen people do it, and it works really well, but everything else works so well, and our list grows so quick that we don't need to do it yet. The next thing that's free is Craigslist. And go on Craigslist, you put a bunch of free ads out, you will find a lot of buyers on Craigslist that are looking to buy properties. Also, when we're looking for deals, that's how we meet wholesalers. So same way that you want to meet wholesalers on Craigslist for you to find wholesalers to buy deals from if you're a renovator, but if you're a wholesaler, then it's a great place for you to meet renovators. So Craigslist, and put the ad out like 2-3 times a day, every day, and your phone will ring off the hook and you will get a lot of people. I'm currently getting about 4 to 5 new people on my list every single day from Craigslist. So pretty easy to do, and I put a couple ads a day out. I have a VA help me do it. The next is Meetup. There should be a decent amount of real estate investment groups on meetup.com that you can join, and the ones you really want to focus on are the ones that have discussion boards. On the discussion boards, you will see a lot of deals going down. We have a couple here in Maryland where you can put your deals out on there a couple times a day, and your phone will ring off the hook. You can sell almost anything you need on those discussion boards. So if you're from Maryland, and what the name of that is Real Deal Meetup and BWI Meetup, and then Rehabber Pro are the 3 that I like the best. And if I forgot anyone, I'm sorry. I probably just forgot your name, so it wasn't that I'm doing any favoritism, but they're the 3 off the top of my head. I know just between those 3 groups you're going to get in front of a lot of people, and there's a lot of activity happening there. The next is, like we talked about before, the MLS. If you can get stuff on the MLS, you're going to build your buyers list really quickly. The second thing you can do too, if you don't have the ability to list a property, is you can go on the MLS and have someone do a search of all the properties that sold for cash in the neighborhood that you're in. And if you can find everything in the last year that sold for cash, then it would be easy to get a list of the agents' names, and then you can reach out to the agents and say, hey, I seen your client bought a property on 123 Main Street for cash. Are they still in the market to buy investment properties? And if they're like yes, then say, look, I got something. It's a private off-market sale, and that's the key. Investors love off-market sales. They love because it feels like it'll be less competitive. And the reality is, if it's not on the MLS, it will be less competitive. And if your client would be interested, probably don't have a lot of time on it, so I don't know if they're in a position where they could get out soon. But if so, I can get you a lockbox and get you in, and we could go from there. You tell them what the address is, what you're looking to get for it, kind of the numbers, so they can go sell it to their client. So this gives you a lot. Between these 2 things, you should be able to build. You just need to do the work. So if you're like, I don't have a buyer's list, it really means you just haven't done the work yet, because these are not hard things to do. But yes, they do require doing them and being consistent, but you can quickly build a list with these techniques. And then the last thing is networking. Obviously this is the way I used to do it back in the day. It still works pretty well. I would say it's not the most efficient way. It's not as scalable as doing online stuff. Online stuff, you could teach a VA to do this and pay them $3-4 an hour, and they could build this list really quickly for you. But networking, I don't mind going to networking and meeting people. I often am looking to sell deals when I'm networking. I'm looking to buy deals too, and I just enjoy hanging out with other real estate investors, like for a happy hour or something if they have that going on. Make sure you're going to like depending on what you're trying to sell, then you would want to go to the networking group that's actually set up for what you're trying to sell. So if say you had a rental you wanted to sell, you would go to a landlord's meeting. If you got a renovation you want to sell, then you would go go to a renovation meeting. You wouldn't want to take a wholesale deal to a wholesaling meeting, because for the most part, there's probably not a lot of people buying. There's probably a bunch of people trying to sell. Now, you might want to go to the wholesaling meeting to pick up some techniques and, share some ideas. It might just be a great lesson. But if you are trying to sell, it's very good to go to the actual meeting that is fit for the exit strategy that you think would be best for the property. And now you can also go to meetings that are for like investing your IRA in real estate, because that's really a great place to meet people who are trying to invest from their IRA. They tend to always pay more because they're just trying to make sure their IRA makes a good return.